All right, welcome back to the Edge Podcast with Chip and Christy. I'm your host, as always, Chip McCarter, and with me, Christy Ogle. And this week, we're going to come. We always like to jump on here and talk about business. We talk being an entrepreneur, problem solving, goal setting, pretty much anything and everything that comes along with being a business owner in 2022. This episode, we wanted to jump on and talk about these 4 parts of the day that can just turn your handyman business around, for emotions, for things that, if controlled correctly, can completely turn your business around and get it back in the positive, or scale it to that next level that you have been trying to do for the past however long. These are things that you don't really necessarily just think about when it's happening, but it's something you can look back on with hindsight and realize what happened, how it happened, and what you can do to make it better. Christy, what do you, I guess, help me explain what we're talking about today.
So there's a day that comes in people's business life, and we're talking specifically today about handyman businesses. A day that comes where you're like, this has been some bullshit I've been going through. It is time for me to make a breakthrough. It's time for me to change my business, because you know what? I'm not going to be broke. I'm not going to be swinging the hammer, and I'm not going to be sacrificing my family any longer for this business. And sometimes the worst day in your business, and that happens, is the best day of your life. And I really felt like we needed to talk about these things, because so many handyman businesses I've seen come to that breaking point, and instead of becoming resourceful and picking up the mess that they've made, because let's be honest, if a business is successful or if it's unsuccessful, it's always because of the mindset of the leader. So is their mindset just to stop and quit, like I've seen people do throughout the years? More people do that than become resourceful. Or do they take one of these 4 things that we're going to talk about, these 4 different parts of changing your business for the better and becoming successful? Or do they tuck their tail between their legs and just go the other way, Chip? So I mean, that's really what we're talking about today is, are you going to become resourceful and be this kind of beast in the handyman business, or are you going to be a little bitch and quit?
Yeah, I was just thinking, are you going to go fill out applications, or are you going to pick up the tools necessary to move forward? And, that's the case.
That's hilarious that you said tools. That was perfect, Chip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but and I've had these days, and this is like I always talk about, you consider it a failure, but in all honesty, it's a win, because you can turn any positive, any loss into a win, because you've learned something from it. And that's what we're talking about today. And the first part, the first emotion, or the first thing that happens is disgust. Right?
Yeah.
That's the first. You get disgusted at yourself, disgusted at the situation that you put yourself in your business. And I mean, that feeling is no fun. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about disgust. And I remember the day that turned my business around. I thought it was the worst day ever. I walked into my accountant's office and I said, okay, Lindsay, I've never done the financials before. I'm taking it over. We're getting rid of our previous CFO. And she said, Christy, I need this whole list of stuff for the business. And I said, I don't know where any of that is, but I'm gonna figure it out. And she goes, Christy, there is hundreds of thousands of dollars that are just unaccounted for. What, Lindsay? Hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. She goes, I've gotten very little information about your financials. I need to get up to date, but from what I'm seeing, money is missing. I walk into this meeting and sign away the rights of our former business partner and CFO. I get control of the financials. I log in, and it's even worse than I thought. Payroll was due in 2 hours, and there was a negative $800 balance in the bank account. And this was just a few short years ago, Chip. And I remember thinking, I was disgusted. I went into the bathroom and threw up because I couldn't believe how bad it had gotten. And I had no clue because I just ignored the financials and let somebody I trusted take care of it. And they did a terrible job. And I remember sitting there with this sickness in my stomach, having to have my husband, who works his ass off, come in the room and go, we need to come up with about $3,000 to pay payroll in the next, actually $3,800, $3,800 to pay payroll by tomorrow, or we won't have any workers. We'll be out of business. And I was disgusted at that point. I remember thinking, this is never going to happen to me again. And guess what, Chip? It never has.
And disgust will do that. Once you get that nasty taste in the back of your throat, and you know that you can control it from happening again, you'll do everything in your power to not have to feel that or taste that again. I promise you.
Exactly. So this negative emotion can push you. It's very powerful, because as my husband and I sat there, we said to each other, this is never going to happen again. We decided this ugly thing was actually a beautiful, powerful moment for the Ogles to take back what they'd let go, because numbers don't lie, Chip. Those are facts. So we made an executive decision to not be just getting by with our handyman business, but to actually make money. Actually, from the 5 years we had been in business, for 2 years, we hadn't even been paid. So we were down to the last bits of our money that we had to put back into our business. And from that point, we've never had to take on big bank loans. We've never had to get venture capitalists, additional partners, some of that stuff that we've done in the past that actually by not doing that, it made Max and I stronger, and it made our business stronger than we'd ever been. So getting rid of this person that was my best friend, getting rid of the toxicity that she brought to the business, it's not all been roses and butterfly. We went through hell the last 2 years, but we decided never again. And we started looking for these opportunities to build and grow our business. I started studying business very hard. I signed up for every class, webinar, anything to learn about the handyman businesses. I put myself through school to the tune of about $250,000 in the last couple of years to make myself better, to become a better business owner, become a better leader. And by doing that, I had this life-changing day. And now I get to help other people change their businesses. One day can change it all, Chip, which I know you know.
Yeah. And you've even covered the other 3 parts of your day just by talking about the day, just naturally, because it's a natural occurrence. But you made that after disgust, you get that disgust feeling. You make that conscious decision to never go through this again, right? The decision's the second part. And you make that conscious decision, I'm never going to get put in this situation again, because I know how I got disgusted on how bad it felt. And I now know what I can do. I can make my decision according to that disgust, and then that's what you did. You chose to never happen again. And that's what happened, because but you have to make that decision, or you're just going to get ran over. There's not going to be anything.
The previous person that I had in control of our financials of our handyman business, she made the decision to ignore everyone that we'd owed money to.
Not the best decision.
That did not work out well. So we had to make a life-changing decision on this day. Go big or go home, right? So over the next few months, we had to make some tough decisions. And those decisions we've made have made the trajectory for our personal finance, our business finance, for everything to kind of line up. And we went from bankrupt to $1 million in sales in just the first full year. It was this life-changing day. It was inspiring now that I could look back at it and see how it changed. But if you have one of these life-changing days and you might get disgusted, but you don't make a decision to change it. Guess what? If you always do what you've always done, you're going to always be what you've always been. So you've got to make that decision to change it and not be that disgusted again.
Correct. And then the number 3 is your desire. And you, in your situation, you already know your desire. Your desire is not to ever be back in this situation again. It's to be in more control and to actually know what's going on. Your desire is just to be more in touch and not just to make sure that this doesn't happen again, ever.
Exactly. And, I didn't know that desire until I opened up, the bank account and it says negative 800 and some odd dollars, right? Mm-hmm. It was a trigger. So I didn't even know I had this desire until this trigger goes, oh, Christy, you better start paying some attention to your financials or you're going to be living in a shoebox. You sometimes have to wait for that trigger to happen. You have to wait for something to happen. Who knows what's going to happen? It could be a song. It could be a lyrics. It could be a book. It could be an experience that you have with your best friend. It could be an experience you have with your enemy. It could be a seminar. It could be a conversation that you have that changes everything, whatever it is. Welcome the experiences that come to you because everything in business is happening for you. It's either teaching you a lesson or something you need action you need to take. So welcome it all. You never know when that one day comes that's going to totally turn your life upside down and around. Don't walk away. Don't put a wall up. I could have put a wall up after that happened and said, you know what? I'm not going to trust anybody anymore. I could have said, you know what? I'm not going to have any more friends in business anymore. Don't put that wall up because that wall keeps disappointment out, but it also keeps happiness from coming in.
For sure.
Take that wall down, go for the experience and let it teach you and mold you into the handyman business owner that you're supposed to be.
For sure. And the fourth one, the last one is resolve. And you once you make that decision, once you have that discussion, you make that decision, your resolve is just sticking with that decision and following through and making sure that it never happens again or whatever the day may be, whatever it is that changed. It could have been a positive thing, that completely changed your point of view. But it's that resolve that's going to get you to the goals that you set. It's that resolve that's going to get you to the numbers that you want to hit in business. You as the business owner have to have the strongest resolve in your business. There should be nobody that has a stronger resolve when it comes to your business working for you. It should definitely be you. You're the one that needs to have that, that gun ho, that head down, head to the grindstone resolve.
Yeah, you have to do it now or die. You have to have no matter what, I'm going to grow this business and I'm going to build it into something epic for my family so I can spend time with them. I remember one time I was doing a talk at elementary school or junior high. It was 4th and 5th graders. I don't know exactly what that is. My kids are too old now, Chip. But I remember asking the kiddos, do you know what resolve is? And I remember most of the little kids, they didn't know what it was. They had some opinions, but they really didn't know. But this one little girl, she was about 9 years old. She walks up to me after the presentation and she goes, "Miss Christy, I know what resolve is." And I said, "Okay, what is it?" She says, "You never give up." And that's the best definition of resolve I've ever heard. And she's probably somewhere doing her own podcast now, but it's the best that I ever heard. I know that one example that I've given in several of the talks that I've done is, Chip, how long do you give a kiddo to walk?
I don't have a perfect answer for that, but a year at the most, maybe. I don't know.
I know as a mother of a child who couldn't talk
Yeah.
until he was about 8 years old, that boy was going to talk no matter what. It took him a year and a half to learn how to walk. That boy was going to walk come hell or high water, whatever this mother had to do, that kid was going to walk and talk. Now,
however long it took.
Yeah. Until, this is the word that everybody needs to get in. Everybody's got these fluffy words like unstoppable, unbreakable, like, blah, blah, blah. It's all roses and butterflies, right? No, your word for 2022 needs to be until. I'm not going to stop until I'm successful in my handyman business. I'm not going to stop until I get hammer free by 2023. I'm not going to stop until I hit 6 or 7 figures. When are you going to do that? Until I get to that point. Don't miss the chance to learn because you're too busy or you've got the wrong verbiage. Until you learn, that kid's gonna he's gonna walk, and I'm gonna make sure he walks until he can walk, until I'm gonna get there no matter what. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just do it. I'm gonna do it now. Like, you have this opportunity to become who you're supposed to be in your handyman business, and do it until pay the price that you need to pay until you get there.
Exactly. And put in the time, put in the work, make that decision and stick to it, and know what it is in your business that you desire and go after it.
Until you get there.
No matter what, until you get there. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Christy, anything else you wanted to touch on this topic?
No, just those were the 4 parts. 1 was disgust, 2 is decision, 3 is desire, and 4 resolve. And until you get there, never give up. Remember what that little girl said to me, like, never give up. You just do it until you get to where you want to be. I can't wait to listen to her podcast.
Yeah, for real. Me too. But exactly. So guys, think about this day and think about what might have turned you around. Today could be that day for you. Today might be the day that you've looked into your financials and you've had that disgust feeling sink in. So now you know what to do with that. Start taking action. Start moving forward. Take that imperfect action. It does not have to be perfect before you take action. You just want to get it out there. Let the world decide. You don't have to be the one to decide if it's perfect or not.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, for now, stay safe. This has been the Edge Podcast with Chip and Christy, and we love you guys.